I'm Sean Carpenter. Welcome to Carp's Corner. Today is February 17th, 2013, and it's a bitter, blustery, cold day here in North Columbus. I'm at Resurrection Cemetery visiting my father, Jot Carpenter, who died 13 years ago today, very suddenly at the age of 61. And as many of you Carp's Corner readers know, that I think about my dad often. In fact, last year, on the anniversary of his death, I did a blog post and a video right from here from his gravesite. And 2 years ago, I wrote one of my most popular, most well-read blogs ever, the 11 Lessons You Can Learn from Sean's Dad. And that blog post got me connections around the world, and I even reached out or heard from a gentleman from Nigeria in Africa who was moved by that. And so I thought I would pay tribute to my dad this year with a video just thinking about the times that you can think of people, whether they're alive or have passed away. A digital clock, every day you're going to see the same numbers at least twice. And so I thought maybe this year I would specifically think about those digital clocks that I see on our mobile devices and on our walls and on our computers. And every time a certain number comes up, it makes you think of something. If I see 10:12 on the clock, I think, hey, there's my birthday. Or if I see 6:19, it reminds me that that's my anniversary to my wife, Rhonda. And I'm sure you have certain numbers that you see and it just kind of catches your eye and it makes you think about something. So this year, I'm going to focus on some numbers as they go past. For instance, when it's 111 or 111, I'm going to think of my wife, because she's the one person who has helped me and stood by me for almost 20 years now and really helped support me and get me to where I am today. 222, that's an easy one. I will think of my two children, my daughter Riley and my son Ryan. I couldn't be more proud of them every day, and I love them very much. And so not that I don't think of them all the time, but when it's 222, I'll specifically get a smile on my face and think of them. 333, I'm going to think of my philosophy and my motto, and that's build relationships, solve problems, and have fun. It's been something I've kind of built my career around, and so every time it's 333, I'll specifically think of how I can better build relationships, help people solve problems, and certainly have more fun. 444, I'm going to think of my two brothers, Jot and Kevin, and their two wives, Carla and Elizabeth. They are four people that I admire greatly, and I really respect and look up to the way they run their professional lives and certainly their personal lives. 555, well, if you've been in a class of mine, you know that I always like to give high fives at the beginning of the class, because I believe that learning opportunities should never be just about learning one thing. It should be about trying to take away at least 5 good things in the time that you commit to your learning. 606, well, 6 to me represents the sixth man, the person who comes off the bench. They're not a starter, but they have a lot of say in the success of the team. And so for me, 606 is going to represent people like Susan Treflick and Sarah Poston and Jamie Schaefer, people that have been training coordinators with me for a long time. It's people like Michelle and Marilyn and Kathy, who were staff members at my office when I was a manager. And it's people like that in my life that have helped me behind the scenes. 707, well, 7's a lucky number. And so when I think of 707, or when 707 shows up, I'm going to think of my friends from high school and from college, my fraternity brothers and their wives, and the people that I built relationships with outside in my business life that I'm lucky to have. And so 707, I'm just going to think of all my friends that I so appreciate being in my life. 808, well, that's an easy one. 888 or 8862 was when my dad and mom got married. So 50 and a half years ago, they got married, and so 88 represents the love and commitment and the relationship that they've had. That certainly, I'm sure many of you know people like that have had tremendous relationships, and so I'll think of my mom at 8:08 in the morning and in the evening. 909, that's for my nephews and nieces. I'm blessed to have some incredible young people in my life. My son Kevin's children, David and Patrick. My son Jot's boys, JT, Davis, and Colin. And my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, Jeff and Shannon, they have 3 young children, Hunter, Shelby, and Taylor. Now, that's only 8 people, because the 9th is actually right down here next to my dad. Her name is Allison Carpenter, and Allison is Kevin and Elizabeth's daughter, who died, unfortunately, the day she was born. So I like to think that Allison is the angel that Dad gets to spend time with, while the other 8 nephews and nieces get to live out their legacy down here. 1010 is my mentors. 1010 is I say 10 because I think of the support and the encouragement that I've had from people like Kim Doherty, who helped me get in this role. Speakers and trainers like Chris Leader, who I've had many conversations about career and family and his father. It's people like David Knox and Rick DeLuca and Ed Hatch and Alec Haggerty and Dirk Zeller, and people that I can just count on to help me in my career. 1111 is my social media friends, and the reason I say 1111 is because many of you know a lady named Deborah Trapin, who has sort of trademarked the number 11. And so it's kind of neat when you see 1111 on the screen or on your phone or on your computer to think of not just Deborah but all my social media connections, the men and women around the world, literally, that I've become close friends with both in real life and through the screen. So I'll think of you guys at 1111. And 1212 you don't see very often, lunchtime maybe, but usually not at night. And so 1212 I'll put together and say 24. And probably something I learned from my dad is live every life, every 24 hours you have, live to the best of your ability and leave a legacy that you can. And so a bunch of numbers that are going to come up on the clock this year that I'll think of a lot of people that are maybe watching this video. But for me to think of my dad, I guess I'm going to be a little selfish and I'm going to give myself more opportunities to think of my dad. So every time a 13 is on the clock, whether it's 113 or 413 or 713 or 1013, I'll think of my dad and just look up to heaven and let him know I'm thinking about him and let him know I love him. So if you have a chance to reach out to your parents today, tell them you love them. I'm Sean Carpenter for Carp's Corner. Keep building relationships, solving problems, and having